Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to 2020 and welcome back to Dirt Gear TV. It's been a little while since I've updated you guys on the buggy. I know those of you that follow Instagram, you see that I've been traveling around a little bit. I was at Windrock in Tennessee. Then I went over to North Carolina, spent some time there, rode some trails, was at Busco Beach. So I got to experience some really cool new places for me and some tracks and things that I can ride around the East Coast that I haven't been to before. And of course I had the buggy with me and the thing did awesome on everything that I threw at it. For those of you following me on Instagram, you've probably seen this already. But as you can see here, we've got a new fuel tank, a new fuel cell. So I had this is all aluminum, TIG welded. I have this custom made by a welding shop called BT's Welding. The other thing that's really cool is I moved the fill cap over to the right side, which happens to be the same side that my truck is. I drive a Ford, and the fill cap is on the right side of the truck, which is different than my other vehicles. So I put this one also on the right side, so that way when I pull up to a double pump, I can both hit the buggy on the trailer and the truck in one foul swoop. So that's pretty cool. I know it's been a little while since you guys have seen my electronics box, but just to show you how hideous and horrendous this wiring job is. Okay, so you can see this is not finalized. This was all temporary wiring. There's not even enough room inside this box for this fuse block here and the MS3. I have to smash the two together. So that's an issue. Also, we need to rebuild this wiring harness for more reliability. I want a cleaner harness, something that I'm not ashamed to crack the box open and show you guys what it looks like inside. So we got a lot of work to do, but I did just receive a couple of packages today. Number one, I got myself a new ammo box, aka Electronics Dry Box. This is a box that I just received from DIYAutotune.com. Look at this. They actually print the function of each individual wire on the wire housing itself. So that is awesome. Now our old suspension, let me show that to you. So, these are the old shocks that came off the rear of the buggy. These things probably weigh, I would say, about 30 pounds a piece, approximately. These Fox shocks are air shocks. So instead of a mechanical spring, these use air pressure to provide the spring. These are their 2.0 air shocks, so they're 2-inch air shocks. They're really primarily geared towards lightweight projects, and they say that these will support, I believe it's 500 pounds per shock. So if you have a lightweight project, definitely you might want to check out the air shocks. So that's where we're at. Enough chatting. Let's dig into this wiring stuff. You guys know it's my absolute favorite thing to do, so let's jump right into it. Okay, we're back, and before I start putting back together the wiring harness for the rest of the engine, I did get in some supplies to start working on our air suspension. Right now it's just being held up on a jack. That's a problem. Let's just bring this puppy up to 400. So let's drop her down. And she's sturdy. That right there, just that little bit of stupidness, far better compression, rebound dampening than I've ever had on this thing before. Number two, the travel is phenomenal. I mean, look at this travel, guys. I think I have 16 inches of travel. The old shocks had 5 inches of travel. Okay, so shocks were a success. So we're looking at the wiring harness still. So this is where we're at. I've got everything trimmed down to length this time. All right, I'm interrupting this video to bring you guys an important public service announcement. I need to clean my garage. Well, okay, that's not the announcement. I really do need to clean my garage, but that's not what I'm talking about. The public service announcement is that one of you, my viewers for Dirt Gear TV, has actually purchased this engine. His name is Del Martinez, so thank you for being a viewer of Dirt Gear TV. And more importantly, thank you for giving this engine a new home. He sent me a message asking me if this engine was available for purchase, and I thought, well, if I can't put it in a power scooter, I might as well sell the thing. So I told him, yeah, it's available. I'm gonna be shipping this off to him this coming week. And again, thank you, Del. You sound like an awesome guy. I'm hoping that I'll get to see some of your videos once you get this installed in your buggy. That's all, back to the video now. Okay, so here's where we're at with this. This is secured to the side of the box, our fuse relay. We've got our fuse blocks. They're still floating around in here, but I will secure them once I've finalized where everything's gonna go and I've tested the system a few times. Now, don't judge me. This box was never intended to look pretty. At some point, I will make this look very pretty and very appealing. Okay, so put some eye candy in here. We'll bundle all of these and clean that up. But this is more for functionality. The outside was meant to look pretty. Anyway, this is our new radiator. So this is gonna help things stupendously. So this is actually a radiator out of a Triumph Spitfire. So it was the smallest radiator that I could find dimensionally that was gonna fit well for what we're doing and also be large enough, hopefully, to pull heat out of this engine. What's up, guys? Okay, it's the next day. What? What's wrong with your face? What do you mean what's wrong with my face? What? You don't like it? So anyway, obviously we got some of these new brackets to hold our radiator into place. I actually kind of like the way that it comes out looking. I think it actually looks like it was kind of meant to be this way rather than the other system, which was just kind of a bar hanging on two little brackets. I don't know. I did absolutely destroy our electronics box with welding splatter, so that's positive. Yeah, I didn't really think that one through much. Hopefully should be ready for a test run pretty soon, but let me show you what I got done last night. Okay, so we've got our two brackets into place. Got this one here, that one there. They do obviously need to be scrubbed down and degreased and painted, which I will do today. Now for the only fun part of this entire sequence. Sure, whatever. Let's fire it up.
well, that's going to do it for this episode of Dirt Gear TV. So even though it doesn't seem like a whole lot may have happened in this episode, the buggy is actually completely different than it was before we started this. We've got the new suspension, which I haven't yet tested. We've got a whole new engine wiring harness and setup completely. We've got a whole new radiator system. So those are a couple of major items. You didn't actually think I'd end the video there without taking you for a little test drive, did you? Aw, come on, you know me better than that by now. Here is what it looks like. I think it looks totally cool. Matches the aluminum tank. So happy with that, how it came out. Much, much better than what it was. So we got our fans mounted up. In testing, I wasn't actually able to get the fans to come on. I ran the engine for, I don't know, 25 minutes. I was revving the snot out of it, and I could not actually get this to come on because this new radiator is so effective at pulling heat out of the engine. The camera's in about the position where my head would be, so when I look over, do my shoulder check, I've got way more visibility back here, so that's a huge benefit. Besides that, it just looks so much better, so much more clean on the back. Gosh, I love the way that looks, guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. You guys like it? You like the aluminum? One other thing that I'm going to do is I've got some high temp paint, so I'm going to actually spray these headers here, and so those are going to be aluminum colored anyway, so that ought to match the fuel tank and the radiator. Okay guys, first time with the new suspension, the new setup. When I say the new setup, I've got a whole new tune in it. I was having some problems with the noise in the engine harness, which is why I tore the whole thing apart and rebuilt it. So there's no more noise, and our acceleration enrichment is now working the way it's supposed to. Before, it would bog, like as soon as you hit the gas, it would bog down a little bit, and just had some weird anomalies. The ignition timing was not set correctly, so that stuff's all been taken care of. And it, wow, so far it feels like a different buggy. Like the engine just runs so much smoother, so much cleaner. You can hear it revs fast when I go to rev it. These tiny little inputs are just jerking me around. So the engine is running way better than it ever has before. But in terms of the suspension, I used to not be able to drive on this stuff over here because this was just too bumpy. It would just knock you all around. So the fact that I can just casually like drive through this while having a conversation, this suspension it's so different, guys. I can just hustle right through this. I can feel the front end is still pretty stiff. The front end is kind of jerking me around. But I have never been able to go into anything like this rutted out. There's big like truck ruts and stuff in here, and it is just smooth as butter going over this stuff. I seriously feel like we're floating on air. But this tune though, this is freaking me out. You hear me like jerking this thing around? Oh geez. Never had that kind of like acceleration before because the timing was messed up. Just so much was off with the engine. Jeez Louise. Oh no. Now what did I break? Now what have I broken? Blew the snot out of that boot. Shouldn't be making that noise. Why is it? Oh, man. Hey, look what I found. It's one of the bearings from our axle. So we are stranded now that we do not have that through axle. Okay, so I managed to get back to the garage, and before I cut out and finish the video up here, guys, I wanted to show you what happened. See, this is a CV axle that's held in, it has, I think, 5 steel bearings that are inside here. And they sit in these little grooves here, and that's how the CV axles work, or at least this style of CV axle work. I figured out that I have a 15mm steel ball. Which means I can order I already did actually order the other balls that are missing, and I may just be able to put this one right back together without having to get crazy and figuring out a new solution for axles. So that's what I'm going to try to do, and then the next time I go out, I am absolutely going to have to strap these suspension arms. I've got some really cool plans for Dirt Gear TV for 2020, so if you've been watching from the beginning, or maybe if this is the first video you've seen from Dirt Gear TV, you're going to want to keep watching because we've got some really cool videos that are going to be coming up this year in 2020. I appreciate you guys watching, and as always, I will see you next time on Dirt Gear TV.